Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric and Chad here with Iraq Veteran 8888. Today, we are doing another gun gripe. And no, guys, this one isn't political. This is a legitimate gun gripe. We're going to be talking about erroneous suppressor metering data and all the fallacies involved in it. And this is really a gripe for Chad because he does a lot of our data collection. We are going to discuss that a little bit, and I'll discuss my particular outlook on it as well, which is maybe a little more bleak than his. However, data is important. I want to take a moment at the beginning of this video to definitely thank all of our Patreon supporters, folks that purchase man cams over on the website, or if you purchase merchandise such as the shirt I'm wearing or Chad's hoodie. We've got embroidered beanies, embroidered caps. We sell embroidered jackets, knives, all different kind of merch over on the site. All the folks that support us through those efforts. If you love the channel and you love what we do and you wish to support us, that's the most direct way that you can support us, is by purchasing a man can, supporting us on Patreon, or purchasing merch over on the site. So if you're one of those people and you see value in what we do and you love what we do and you support us, thank you guys very much for the support. It allows us to put these videos out on a consistent basis. So I'm going to turn it over to Chad for a few minutes and let him vent a little bit.
I was venting to Eric about this earlier, but
we decided to make a gripe. So.
This is a gripe. I actually brought the meter because I needed to size up a case. I actually have to send it off to get it recertified. But like Eric said, I do a lot of the data collection for the channel, and I recently invested in a BNK2209. If you guys aren't familiar with these units, these are very old, antiquated, some would say, analog units for measuring suppressed gunshots. They're very high quality. Very high quality sound meter. They have a very low rise time, which meets the military specification, the military requirements for measuring sound suppressors. There's been a standard on the books ever since, forever ago, that has been updated occasionally, and it calls for a very certain equipment set in order to properly measure these suppressed gunshots and tabulate that data. And then also it goes into describing where you can actually meter the stuff. I mean, like, they call for an open field, no sound reflective surfaces within 10 meters. I mean, all this kind of...
pretty exacting specifications.
Very, very exacting specifications to collect proper data. But the thing is, people look at... All right, if you're in the market for suppressors, and some of you guys watching this video could care less about suppressors. You really could. But those of you who are interested, you want to get the best bang for your buck, because suppressors are expensive, okay?
And the wait time is a real chore, too, for a lot of us.
The wait time sucks. NFA process sucks. It sucks having to get passport photos. It sucks having to go get fingerprints and fill out this paperwork and wait and do all this crap and then pay an extortion tax, okay? It sucks. But those of you who are interested in suppressors, you go through the process and you want to get the best product that you can. So you try to compare results. Okay, so you go to company A's website, and then you go to company B, and then company C, and you're looking at the data that they may or may not publish. They don't have any details on what meter they use to collect that data. They don't have environmental conditions where they use that, or
what
where they
standards they used.
No, you have no idea how they collected that data, and yet you're trying to compare apples to oranges to pears. And you say, okay, I'm looking at this 556 suppressor, and company A's performs at 135 dB. Company B's performs at 137. Company C's performs at 133. Ooh, that's the one I'm going to buy. No, you can't compare that. You can't quantify that.
And we've done videos in the past where we've talked about companies and how they exploit and sometimes, let's just say, tell white lies in relation to data when they publish their data, because they want to have the best performance in terms of, we want to list our ammo at the highest velocity for what we sell. we want to list, this performance standard, that performance standard, and they want to outdo the other company. Yep. So they always chase these numbers. My suppressor performs at blah, blah, blah better than this one. But the truth of the matter is, it's not a fair comparison. The only way to really know is to have one defined test standard. I mean, it goes against the very basic scientific method. All right. I mean, I'm not a scientist, but I know well enough that you have to control your variables.
Yeah,
and
you
if
do.
everybody has different standards and different variables, you're not going to get a truly consistent comparison of all of those products.
Absolutely not. The only time that any data is really, truly comparable when measuring suppressors is when you are metering on the exact same day in the same weather conditions with the same equipment and the same hosts, the same ammo, and you're collecting all that data. If you want to compare two cans, go to a suppressor metering event like they host up at Red Hill Range. I've been to 2 of those in the past couple of years that were hosted by some local companies. And Bill Aravello, I've mentioned his name before. He is an awesome dude. He owns 3 of these meters, and he collects meter data for like the NFA Talk Forum. And he has a very, very exacting process that he uses, and I learned a lot from him before I purchased this meter for our own data collection here on the channel. And the reason that I invested in this equipment is to provide more data for you guys to make informed decisions. But the thing is, like, I got crapped on when we were using the Larson Davis LXT, which is a modern digital meter.
Which is still a good meter.
It's a very good meter, and the company advertises that it is perfect for measuring suppressed gunshots. B&K also has brand new models, the 2270, which I know Tim uses one over there on Military Arms Channel, as well as Silencer Shop uses it for their demonstration videos that they publish on YouTube. Those are digital meters, and they do have a higher rise time than the military standard. But in my personal testing between the 2 meters, comparing them literally on the same shots, they are within less than half a decibel typically of each other. Now, you can get into the argument that, oh, well, it's a logarithmic scale, not a linear scale, but it's semantics at that point. You're talking about half a decibel on something that is about 130 decibels. You're in the minuscule of tenths of a percent of measurable difference, and it's probably within the margin of error. And I've seen so many things online that just chap my they literally just do. I see a post on a popular forum, okay, and it's showing this Larson meter setup, and they're calculating data on a integrally suppressed rifle of sorts, and they're publishing data that's measuring down in like the 108, 110, 112 dB range for a full power rifle. Not possible. Not possible. That might be what it says on the meter, but you see a screenshot of the meter and they're reading the wrong number, and they're not using the proper weighting network. There's 3 weighting networks that are selectable with these. The military standard is the A weighting network. And when companies don't follow that, and then they just erroneously publish this stuff without doing the research on what it is they might be doing wrong, it's a disservice to the shooting public. Because you're looking at suppressors, you're just getting into it, and you find that article, and then you say, man, 110, that's pretty good. But then you look at actual published results that are correct, and more accurate, and you see 130, you're like, oh man, that's loud.
Well, let me play devil's advocate for a second. Okay, so my thing is, I understand that comparing numbers is one of those things. I mean, if let's say that I'm shopping for cars, right, and I want the fastest car I can buy, right? I want the absolute fastest race car, legal, civilian legal car I can buy. This car has blah, blah, blah amount of horsepower. This car has this amount of horsepower. This car has this amount. You start comparing horsepower and you go, okay, well, this is better because more is better. Mm-hmm. Well, I think my issue kind of becomes with suppressor data is that while collecting the data is important and you do want to have a fair comparison, those comparisons, for one, are only fair when they're compared directly to the same platform, same shooter, same day, all of
ammo,
that.
host,
so
everything.
Unless it's that direct comparison, my main concern, what I'm looking for, I'm different than Chad. I want compact length. I want the shortest length I can get. I want the lightest weight I can get, and I want something that doesn't hurt my eardrums. And that's it. That's all I care about. I don't care about suppressor metering. I don't care about what it either is loud and it hurts my ears or it isn't. And it's light. I worry about the variables that I can instantly tell with my, natural instincts. And that is, wow, this can's heavy. Man, this thing sucks carrying in the woods. Oh, this can's long. It sucks trying to go around a corner and do this.
You want to take your full auto burn down can to the woods?
Well, no, but what I'm saying is, my concern is compact length.
Yep.
It works well. And it's light. That's all I care about.
Yep.
And if that means it needs to be a certain type of construction, certain material it's made of, if it needs to have a certain configuration, whether it's a K-baffle stack or a monocore, I don't care what the construction methods are. I don't care what the materials are made of. As long as it holds up decent, it's strong, it's got a good mounting system, it's short in length, compact in size, and it doesn't hurt my hearing. Yep. Like, to me, like the 9 mil suppressors, I've really come to like the Omega 9K. It's lightweight. It's got a variety of different mounting options. It's a welded can, so it's nice and simple.
And it works.
And it's lightweight. It's short. It's got all of those criteria. So for me, my criteria for what I would purchase a suppressor based on might be different than your criteria. My criteria are, I want it to be unobtrusive and I want it to work.
Yep.
I don't care what it sounds like. I don't care if it's 5 dBs louder than product A. I don't care. As long as it meets that length, compact size, weight. That's my thing.
When I really started noticing some of the difference between our cans, and we've both been in NFA for a long time, we have a pretty generous collection of cans that we've accumulated. And there's a few that I really gravitate to, not only for sound suppression, performance on multiple hosts and platforms, but also accuracy. Like, I want a can that is quality built, I want it quiet, and I want it to not change my accuracy potential of that particular host. If I drop a can on a rifle and I go from shooting half MOA groups to 1.5 MOA groups, point of impact shift is moot. Point of impact shift does not matter to me. I do not care. I mean, it's not quantifiable either, because you could put a given suppressor that weighs X amount on a very heavy, like Palma style rifle or whatever the case is, some big heavy crazy bull barrel, and you're not going to get much point of impact shift if it's a quality can. But then you drop it on a lightweight hunting rig, it's going to weigh the barrel down more, it's going to change the harmonics more, you're going to get more of a noticeable point of impact shift. Point of impact shift is nearly a non-essential point to me, but I want it to be accurate. And I've done so much accuracy testing between bare muzzle, brakes, suppressors. I mean, I kind of know at this point what's good, what's not, and can look at a baffle stack and be like, that's probably going to be kind of weird, whatever the case is, or I don't know, it's probably not going to perform very well.
That comes with experience.
Gas jetting, all kinds of weird things in there. I mean, I spent a day metering the Silencio, the switchback, just because the claims were, they really took the industry by surprise. Like, wow, 108 dB, that's really quiet. I tested it, and then the guys over at Suppress Nation tested it as well. We got very comparable results. We both use the same meters, and what I like to use is NSR, which is net sound reduction. You take the unsuppressed shot, and then you take the average of 10 suppressed shots, and you say, what's that difference? That's your net sound reduction. That is more of a quantifiable and comparable data point across multiple platforms, as long as you're using the same equipment and metering in similar results using the same host equipment and everything. I mean, it's still not directly comparable, but it's a better understanding of what kind of performance you're actually getting, rather than saying, oh, well, this can's 108, this can's 112.
So getting outside of performance and getting a little bit more to the standards of testing sound metering data, and everything. You also mentioned earlier when we were talking about this, about the location of the mic.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably something we need to talk about.
So this is one thing that really gets me going too. Okay. You have the military standard. You measure at the exit aperture of the sound source, which is typically going to be the muzzle aperture of the firearm on an unsuppressed firearm. A little CZ Scorpion there. All right, so when you measure unsuppressed, you're going to put the mic 1 meter to the left, 1.6 meters high, and the margin of error is about an inch or so. It's like 2 centimeters. but you want to get the sound coming out of the muzzle into the microphone at a set distance. Okay? Now, when you put the can on there, okay, the exit aperture, the sound source changes. So then this Tyrant here is about a 7-inch can. Okay, this is just a 9mm. You're not going to meter perpendicular to the muzzle at this point. You're going to meter at the sound source. And there's the military standard, and there's what's known as the ASA standard. And that's what companies like Silencer Co. And then that's also what Silencer Shop uses, is the ASA standard, which I can't find any documentation on what that standard actually is, other than that they measure from the muzzle of the gun, even when they attach a suppressor. And they say that they found, negligible results between comparing different length cans and such as that, but I like to keep a standard that's been on the books for the longest time, that's been used by the most companies out there, and that's the standard that we use. We use the military standard, and all we can do is calculate and tabulate our own data and do the best that we can to provide legitimate results for you guys. I mean, I invested in a weather flow weather meter. This is a little Bluetooth weather meter that works with geoballistics, and that's an app I've been using on my iPhone forever, and it is such a good ballistics app. But you can plug your weather flow directly into it via Bluetooth and calculate weather conditions at your location, including density altitude. It is essential that you record weather data when you're doing data collection like this.
And over a long period of time, what you can also do is you can establish different trends that seem to develop with different weather patterns in terms of testing data. So let's say that you collect a block of data and the wind was a certain speed, you have certain humidity, certain temperature. All of those atmospheric conditions can matter when it comes to sound pressure and the way that it reads and everything.
Absolutely.
So
but the thing though is the NSR does not change very much, even across multiple metering days. If you're using the same equipment, the same host, the same ammo, like I mentioned, keeping the variables to a minimum. I've metered stuff in the summer and I've metered stuff in the wintertime with 60-degree temperature changes. The NSR was very, very comparable between the two. But
good to know.
But one day out, this can may have read like 2 dB or 3 dB higher than it did the other day.
And maybe if it was a real hot day or something like that.
But also, like I said, the NSR doesn't change. That difference between the unsuppressed performance and the suppressed performance, it just moves.
It's exponential.
It just moves. So whatever the weather conditions are, however it's going to affect the sound pressure, you're going to be able to tabulate it there. But if you just look at this number and say, oh, well, when I did this can, it performed like this. And then I did this can 6 months later, it performed like this. You can't compare those results. But people do all the time. And it is mass confusion. It just causes so much issue when people are shopping for suppressors and they see erroneous data out there. I mean, like, guys like, all right, Jesse James, when he came out with his potato suppressor, I'm sure it probably performs well enough, but he was advertising it as like 78 dB on a 5.56 on a 16-inch carbine. Like, no, that doesn't work that way. Most typical high-performance, quality 5.56 suppressors are going to meter right in the 135 range. Some might be a couple dB higher, some might be a couple dB lower. But the at-ear measurement is what a lot of people are concerned about. They want minimal blowback. They don't want it to be so loud at the ear that it's blowing the eardrums out and stuff. You get one can, it's got a ton of blowback. It shoots your brass at 1 o'clock, and stuff. And you put another can on there, it's got less blowback. It drops your brass back here. It's a nice gentle recoil, and it doesn't, blow your eardrums out as much as the other can does. That's more of a important measurement to most shooters, is what it sounds like at the ear. Semi-autos are going to be loud at the ear. Bolt actions are going to be quieter at the ear. I mean, it's just a common thing, but you got people like Jesse James, who doesn't do it anymore, to my knowledge, but then you got other folks out there who just use Amazon sound meters, and they say, oh, I'm just going to collect some data real quick. Oh, this thing's metering about 90 dB. I'm going to publish it. They're only adding to the problem. That's my main gripe, is if you're not going to do it right.
Don't claim to be a scientist if you're not.
And I'm not. I'm not a scientist. I just try to follow certain procedures.
But if you follow the scientific method and you do things according to a standard and you carefully control variables, and you observe variables, and you control everything, and you record it, guess what? You are sciencing, okay?
Yep.
And you don't have to wear a lab coat.
And
you just need to be careful and meticulous.
The last gripe that I have on this subject, and I promise it's the last gripe. I promise. I mean, guys, there's so much detail I could go into with this stuff. It just bothers me, But
it bothers me too.
It bothers Eric to even talk about it because he don't care.
I do care. I care. It's a part of my job. I care.
The thing is, like, you have manufacturers that claim, okay, we're the quietest suppressors on the market, but then they don't believe in meter data. That doesn't work. You can't claim to be the quietest thing on the market, but then not have quantifiable, comparable results with your competition. I mean, have an independent source meter your products against everything else out there. I mean, Mike Pappas did that forever ago with Dead Air. He took his mask, which is one of my absolute most favorite 22 cans.
Agreed.
And he just ran it up against all these other cans in a line and just checked for first round pop. He literally shot 2 shots and calculated first round pop and said, there you go.
But the science doesn't lie. The data doesn't lie.
But you can't make those claims as a manufacturer and then expect the public to believe it. I mean,
especially when you're talking, man, have to wait so long for the paperwork, and you got to pay the freaking extortion tax. You got to spend your money and have it in NFA jail.
Yep.
That's a lot of risk to take and not know if something's going to meet your standard or not.
But I think really the takeaway from this, and what I want you guys to think about, and just keep in the back of your minds when you're out suppressor shopping, whatever the case is, don't try to compare apples to oranges across the internet, okay? Look for independent tests. The NFA Talk Forum is a great resource for that. Bill has collected so much data, it's not even funny, and they have a huge database over there. And you can find your can, and you can kind of see how it's stacked up against other things that same day. Because when they're out there doing those tests, we're in the middle of summer, and they're metering from like 8 a.m. to like 5 or 6 or whenever the last thing gets metered. And it's as consistent of a process as we can possibly do.
It's probably the same level of consistency in that case that you would expect from a military operation, from a military test.
Absolutely.
That's what the military would do. They would go out and they would conduct their testing. It's right in line with what Julian Hatcher would do.
Yeah, but people put too much stock in the numbers that are out there. Like Eric said, the biggest things is, does it perform well? Yes or no. Okay, We've shot cans before on certain hosts. We're like, oh God, that's awful. Mm-hmm. But then you go to the website, but then it shows that the performance, the numbers are great. And tone is a whole nother animal that hopefully you'll be able to start testing soon with the digital meter, the Larson. The thing is, don't compare apples to oranges across the internet and across multiple manufacturers. It's just not going to work. Look for suppressor metering events that you can attend, and you can just go check out a few different things and see what's going on. Look for suppressor demo events that a lot of NFA dealers and stuff will set up. I know Quiet Right Firearms has set up multiple suppressor demo days around our area here in Georgia, on multiple occasions. And there was a big shoot. Silent Chicago was down at one point, and they had everything in their catalog out there for demo. And it was a fun day, and it was a way for you to get out and just check things out and hear things for yourself.
Also, remember that a lot of suppressors can be optimized for certain platforms. Okay,
Absolutely.
So don't think that just because one works on one platform really well that it won't work well on another, or that it will just because it does. So. Some suppressors tend to do better on bolt guns. Mm-hmm. Some are a little bit more, catered for semi-auto. Some are a little bit more at home on a subgun and a pistol caliber. Some are more, better. Some of them are better suited for use on 22 pistols versus 22 rifles. So kind of let all those things be a factor.
And then there's jacks of all trade,
Sure.
like the Mystic and the Cosmic that I have, the Liberty suppressors. The Mystic is probably one of my favorite suppressors, and Eric's on my trust. That can is actually living on Brandy's 6.5 Grendel hunting rifle right now.
It sounds great.
It's a wonderful can, and it surprises me more and more every time I use it on everything from 22 up to 300 Win Mag. But is it perfect for all those applications? No.
But
does
if
it
you're
work?
looking for a jack of all trades, then that's your product. So
There's so many more things that we could talk about. But,
lots
oh my
of them.
gosh.
But guys, thank you so much for watching today's Gun Gripe. We hope that you learned something. There's a lot of information being put out in this video. I hope you guys can absorb it and sort of understand where we're coming from. I mean, I can understand Chad's frustration because data is a very important part of the Second Amendment community and of the gun world. So, you know, we live and die by data, it seems.
no matter what you do, I can't do anything right. It's like, you know, use the wrong meter. Use the wrong meter and people complain. Use the right meter, people complain. Like, what do I do?
You just say, well, that one sounded pretty good. Yep, pretty quiet. I'm just going to make up a number. So that's what we're dealing with. And guys, thanks for watching today's video. We have many more videos on the way. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.